Bubble blowing girlies. I'm Nemo.
I'm Star. Welcome back to another episode. It is the month of Valentine's. As you can see, I have my little baby Cupid here. He'll be representing love. Will we be? We don't know. We don't know. Stay tuned to find out. Today we're gonna be talking about unpopular relationship opinions. What you gotta say?
I wasn't saying
Oh, I don't
anything
know.
yet.
I don't know. You got your mic up. I was like, you should prepare to
Yeah,
say
because
something.
I'm ready to go.
Okay. I got these off of Twitter. Didn't really focus on the names because I don't actually have Twitter. I just, Googled. But I got these from Twitter.
Oh,
Excuse me.
bless you.
Thank you. Okay, the first one. Men should be spoiled too, meaning that they should also get special treatment. They should get surprise days. They should have things planned for them, such and so forth. What you think?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I feel like both parties should just spoil each other. But, love languages are different. You spoil each other in different ways.
Okay, okay. This one right here, next
Oh,
one.
yeah, no peekies.
No peekies. No peekies. Prenuptial / written relationship contracts are romantic.
Wait, huh? Wait, what?
Prenups or written contracts for your relationship are
No, because
romantic.
why am I work? Why am I work? What's it called? There was this lady, one of the older coworkers. She treats one of them. She tries to get the other male coworker, we'll call him B, as son-in-law, and tries to set him up with her daughter-in-law. And he's like, "But I want a prenup." And he's like, "You can't marry my daughter if you want a prenup." But I'm sure, don't don't do that. Don't do that. You have to be my son-in-law. And I'm just like, personally, I honestly don't really have many opinions on prenups. They're definitely not romantic. Because, like, you can see it in two ways. You can, one, see it as protecting yourself, getting a prenup, no matter if it's like, a woman or a male getting the who wants it. Or you can see it as not trusting your partner. But there's also the case of like, um, a prenup, it could be for like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if like you will get a divorce one day. But there's also the case of like, if you're getting a prenup, you are thinking about the end of your relationship. You're thinking about the fact that um you
That things
may
don't
very
last
well
forever.
get a divorce. So it's like, what kind of mindset do you have while you're getting married? And everyone's got different traumas, different PTSDs, trust issues, whatever.
Mm.
So honestly, I can't tell you. I know they're not romantic, but I can't tell you if they're good or bad because they both got two different sides to them.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
mean, like, if you don't have much to your name and you get in a prenup, that's more of a personal issue. There's not really much to split.
No, because I'm just thinking, like, I was watching, I don't remember which one of the judge shows it was, but they had these Yu Gi Oh cards and they went to court to try to split them.
No, no, no. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, depending on like how what's it called? Special edition they are. If they're new, if they're still in their packs and stuff like that, they can be worth a lot. People spend money on cards.
Yo.
Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like people will spend their money on anything. So having those in mint condition could very well get you like thousands of dollars. People are weird out here in these streets. I wouldn't. Not for me. Not me. But
For some cards.
another man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say.
Sure is, and it's not my treasure.
Sure, sure, my treasure.
Okay, next one. Freedom should also be allowed. It's not just like a piggyback off. Freedom should also be allowed. No rules. Loyalty should be genuine.
I'm confused.
Meaning, I was gonna explain to you because
Okay.
I was like, that's just what is said on the post. I was
Oh,
like, I get what they're saying, so I need to explain to her.
oh.
So
Mind you,
like how in my
this
head,
is someone who's never been in a relationship before. Hilarious though.
like how in my head I was like, in a Caribbean like mindset, if we're like at a party, like my mom would dance with somebody and my dad would like, yeah, go ahead, or my dad would dance with somebody, and my mom would like, yeah, go ahead. It's not like, I know you did not. I know you did not just go dance with old girl.
Oh, girl.
It's not like that, you know? It's just like you trust each other to know that what we have is this. It's not like there's a trust there that is not being broken. That's just an example. Do you need another one?
No, I sort of get it. I sort of
Meaning that,
understand.
like how they say, like, I have a strict boyfriend. So, like, I can't wear, they're like, oh, I can't wear this
Okay,
or I can't do that. That's what they're
he
saying.
ain't your father,
Yeah, there you go.
and by a certain age, you got to be dressing yourself. So, Mm, but I yes, what's it called? The whole strictness or uh the jealousy ruling over your head and your mind and stuff like that's not cute. It is cute. But there's also the fact that like there should be trust. People should be, allowed to have fun, to hang out with friends and stuff like that without you getting in your mind that there's infidelity about to be a play here. But there's also the fact that like everyone also has different boundaries. Different people will think different things are crossing a line because not everyone is a part of the same culture.
Mm-hmm.
So like um people will be in one culture will be taught like, this is like just having a good old time, having a laugh. And others, this isn't very like it isn't something that's usual in the culture. So when you see it happening, there's a different intention
Mm-hmm.
going on. So it really depends on the intention of what's going on. Is this person actually flirting with the people they're dancing with and trying to hook up? There's a difference between that and just dancing. There happens to be a different person coming up and dancing with you and you're just having a good old time. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on, the dynamic. Also, talking about the boundaries you have with you and your partner and understanding like what making sure there's guidelines in what you believe is cheating, what you don't believe is cheating, because people will have different ideas in their head all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, no matter what, like letting your jealousy overrule your thoughts or like being possessive of someone, they're not objects. They aren't. No one's an object. You don't own somebody. That's not how it works. They should be free, to live, laugh, love. Yeah.
For me, it's also at the point of respect, respecting that person. Like, as you were saying, if it's a part of my culture but it's not a part of their culture, can there be some kind of compromise to be respectful of both cultures? You know, do you respect me or do I respect you enough to not do certain things, not do this, not do that? I have a thought, I just can't process it the way it needs to come out. But I feel like when it comes to that, no rules, no rules. If you're out in the streets and somebody come holler at you, people are gonna holler at you. Don't put a pass to them. That's respect. I'm gonna just sum it up to that. If they put a pass at you, that's one thing. But the fact if you start going toe to toe with them, I feel like that's disrespectful.
Yeah,
Let me just say
going
that. Let me
responding
put use that example then.
responding to those
Yeah,
advancements
because
are gonna be
people are going to
disrespectful.
be people. They're going to whether you look a hot mess or you're looking like the Queen of England, whatever it is, people are going to put a pass at you because at the end of the day, people have eyes and they like what they see. whatever it is they like, what they see, they're gonna put a pass at you at the end of the day. At the end of the day. Next, ready? Men should always pay for dates.
No. No. No, 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 no. No. Um, I'm in the mind of they can what's it called? They can pay for one date or you initiate the date and then what's it called? The girl gets what's it called? Gets to pay or they split. Or they split it. Like it's one of those things where like I think there should be a balance. There's to me like no, it's not it shouldn't be the men that pay 100% of the time.
Do what you. I
Just
feel
like it
like.
shouldn't be the men who have to initiate being like, "Oh, let's go on a date." The girl can say, "Hey, let's go on a date."
Yeah.
And that's only and I'm just talking about like straight relationships. LGBTQ couples, they know what they're doing. They got it. Straight couples, they need a little help though. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Things I've seen.
Okay. We do not need to talk or see each other every day or even every other day.
No, you don't. You don't really like. No one should be upset if like they never if say you went a day without like texting this person or something like that. Like, of course, you get a good morning, you get a good night. Like, I feel like common sense things. But uh do you have to talk on the phone for hours or do you have to see them every single day? No, especially because people are different. Some people are low maintenance or introverts that like do end up pulling themselves away from the world for like a day or two and then they come out of the woodworks to see the sun again. Like some people are just like that and there's some extroverts or some like clingier people who do want to see people's faces, but at the same time, again, boundaries and also I don't know why you would be upset if like cuz I've seen like some people get upset that like say they didn't talk to their boyfriend all day and they're like, "Why didn't he call me?" or the dude being like, "I wonder what she's doing." Like it's been a day. It's not even a day. It's been an afternoon. You calm down. You're not attached at the hip, you know?
For me, it just depends. For me, it comes down to what she said and your love language. If your love language is that physical connection, that physical contact, seeing and feeling and being with that person, it can feel, a little bit more than just, oh, we weren't together for X amount of time. You're just like, you know what? I want to see this person or whatever have you. Does it need to be every day? Honestly, unless you live with that person, let's be realistic. Life gets busy. You're not going to see the person every day, but talking is not that hard to send a text.
Hmm.
Life does get busy, but a simple good morning, hey, I'm going to be busy today, or a simple, when you get a break during the day, if you get a break, go to the bathroom, whatever. Hey, how's your day been going? It's fine, whatever. Going to bed. Just because for me, I like to know what's going on because I'm just a warrior by nature. If my parents are going out of the house too long, I get concerned.
Hmm.
I get concerned. I call them.
I don't know who told them they were grown.
I don't know. I get very much concerned. I'm just like, you usually call me by now. Like if I'm out and they don't call me, I get an attitude.
She really does.
I get an attitude every time. Just like, so like it's been like 6 hours since I've been out in these streets. Does no one care about me anymore? Like that's kind of crazy. And I will call them, or as soon as I get home, like, why didn't nobody call me? I called you. Why didn't you answer? But it's not. That's just our play by play. That's just how we have fun. But if you're going to take it like real serious, like she ain't call me, she ain't call me, we are done. Calm down. Ask that person what happened today. What if they were having a rough day? They just need some time to isolate themselves.
Let me think.
What if life just hit them when it hit them and they just didn't get a chance to talk to you?
Also, you also have to think about different, the same way that you can have your physical touch for love language. You have to think about their love language,
Yeah.
and uh they might not consider that to be the way to show love because the way they think of it is different than you do. So
Hmm.
that's also something that you need to talk about because uh what's it called? They can think like uh what's the different love languages again?
Acts of service. You have gift giving.
Words of
You have
praise,
words of praise. You have
time spent,
time spent.
physical touch,
Yeah.
things like that. And yours could be physical touch, and in your mind you're reeling because it's like, oh, they don't physically want to be with me. Do they like me? La da 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 da. Because that's how you show it. But in their heads, they're probably chill. They're like, oh, I wonder what she's doing today, and then just going about their day busy and stuff like that. And but you're worrying, they're not, because in their heads they're like probably gonna call you that night, probably gonna do the words of praise or something like that, because that's the way they show affection. It's
Hmm.
all about like coming to like a you know an
That's
impasse.
just conversations need to be had about several things. That is something that you need to, because that's a compromisable situation. Why? Because if some person, because for me, I'm a hugger. She's not. She don't even like people touching her. But like every once in a while, she knows that, hey, you know what? I'll accept the hug. You got about 3 seconds though. Or I know that, you know what? I'm not even gonna try. We'll do like a regular, like a fist bump for a hug
Or
or
a
a
high
high five.
five.
That we have understood that that's our hug. You know? Try to figure out what works for both of you guys.
Also, you have to, also people are weird, so the way they give affection is not how they take affection. You
Yeah.
understand? It's weird. It's complete, it's bafflement, you know. So they may give, say they gift giving will be how they decide to show their affection, but the way they take affection is by words of affirmation and stuff like that. So like you complimenting them or something like that is how they're like, oh my god, they must really like me, you know? And so that's just one of those things you also have. It's not just about like what you give, it's also how you take. Everything is a give and take in this world. Capitalism in all forms.
Okay. Next one is, how early is too early to talk about future, meaning family, meaning where you want to live,
If you believe in
all of this.
marriage,
If you believe in marriage, all of these things are how many children you want, if you want to have children. If I already have a child, are you okay with raising this child as your own? Or, parents like help raising that child, whatever have you. How early you think that should be discussed?
when it comes to like the, I don't ever want children, right? Right. And many people, many people in this world do want children. Not compatible if if I ever get with someone who does want them. Now some people in this world, A, who doesn't want children, B, who wants like two,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they compromise on one because it's like, okay, sure, whatever. And then other times it's just like somebody wants a big family. Some people don't want a big family. And I think it's the beginning stages you have to talk about these things. Like some people get scared, like, oh, she's already thinking about a family. That's because some people date for a good time, fun time. And they're like, oh, but if we do end up getting together, then we'll just, go with the flow. Some people date thinking of the long term. Some people date not just for, the hookups or something like that. They date seriously and actually want a future with somebody. So they have to know these things at the beginning, or else it's like,
Waste of
well,
time.
it's a waste of time and effort spent when they could just continue on to find the person that does want a big family with them, that won't be in the middle where they find out like along the way a year into the relationship, and you're talking about like probably like when you're getting married and figure out that, oh, she wants how many kids?
Or find out that the girl got her tubes tied or the guy got a vasectomy. Things
Exactly.
like that need to be discussed.
And then there's also the fact that there's some people who don't actually like think about those things. Like I said, they're in it for the fun, they're in dating for the hookup culture, they're going with the flow. But that also means because they're not thinking of the future, even though they're like, yeah, someday I want kids, they're not, they don't realize, they haven't put in the thought of like the seriousness of the situation of having kids. So they'll think, oh, along the way, I'll know. Along the way, maybe we'll end up having two or three. And then now you're just stuck with the situation, and you're coming at an impasse, arguing about how someone's arguing about how they want another child, and you're arguing about how you don't. And then it's like, do you even love these kids? You know. But yeah, I think it should be talked about in the beginning. I know it's gonna. I know it scares some people, but if you're scared about it, then obviously you're not the person. Obviously, you're not the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna just go to it. Just go to it. Hold on. Let me.
Go
It's oh
to the wait. Which one are you gonna do?
the physical.
Oh, okay, that's the one
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. That's the one that I thought of.
Okay, this one is it's okay to break up with someone if your needs are not being met physically.
Okay, so okay.
Get comfortable.
Okay, so there are some people in this world that that place a lot of importance on physical intimacy, and some people don't place a lot of importance on physical intimacy. There's two different sections. Now, do I think that you should immediately uh break up with a person if what's it called, like at first because of these things? No. A lot of things can be compromised on and talked through and stuff like that. Um I'm of the variety where it's like, I don't, in my head, I understand both sides when it comes to a relationship. And yes, I do think that, like chemistry, physical chemistry is important. I do think it is important. And if at the end of the day you're not physically compatible, do I think that what's it called? Uh it's probably time to break up and keep it pushing. Yes, especially if it is getting in the way of the emotional response you have towards each other. Because attraction to me is important. To some people, the more they feel for someone, the more attractive that person is. And so the physical attraction and physical intimacy just goes along right with it. Now, there are some people who use uh physical intimacy or their needs not being met, thinking that they're being neglected because of it. One, did you ever talk to that person? Or did you ever even confront this person about it? Talk them through it. Also, there's other people in this world that are asexual or on the spectrum and of that asexuality. And so they just, don't, need or want to be physical. Some of them, anyway, don't have those needs as others do. So, again, the physical compatibility is a thing. And then there's but with people who aren't asexual, you know, like I said, talk it out. And the ones who decide that if their needs are not being met by this one person, and instead of breaking up, because at that point you should be breaking up if you're already going to this decision, they think, oh, They don't want me physically. I'll go to someone else.
Mm.
If those are the thoughts that cross your mind or just happened to you, all those steps it took to get there, anyway, and it just happened, then obviously you should break up if you're thinking about that. If if you've already talked it out with the person, if you've already taken the steps to try and see if you can like build a better bond physically or something like that and it just hasn't worked out at the end of the day, even though you could still have feelings for them, you still in your mind love them, sure, you should probably just break up if you see yourself declining when you are focusing so much on that physical aspect of the relationship instead of going to someone else or thinking, hey, can we add a person or can we open the relationship because my needs aren't being met?
Mm. Mm. I'm
But one sidedly, of course.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Brings us to our next topic.
It wasn't going to, but might as well.
Oh, what was going to be the next one?
Pride ruins relationships. I was gonna
Pride does ruin
I was
relationships.
gonna put it off a little bit. I was gonna put it off a little bit because I was like, we're gonna get heated, and I want to make sure we get through everything else first.
But yes, just at some point after you've done what you could, break up. Pride does ruin relationships.
Speak on it.
Pride does because what's it called? Pride about like if they're the breadwinner of the family, if they are the ones that work the hardest of the family.
Child.
Um pride like oh,
Oh, come on, Cupid. I'm so sorry.
having a self-inflated ego, thinking they're just more important than they are, will ruin it, thinking their time is more valuable than anyone else's in the relationship will ruin it. Thinking that their career is above yours in any way will ruin the relationship.
Mm.
It Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Mm. Okay. Same as yours. When it comes to relationships, whether it be platonic, friendships or intimate relationships, there comes a point where you have to be completely naked. And when I say naked, I don't mean nude. I mean completely open. Because if you are to grow in a relationship, again, doesn't matter which kind, you have to be your truest self. You have to let go of, they're going to see your scars. They're going to see when you get sad. They're going to see what makes you happy. They're going to see your fears. They're going to see all your bad things. But there's also your good, and they can't, no one is ever up all the time. No, no one is ever up all the time. There's highs and there's lows. And yes, I saw this the other day. This guy asked his therapist, why when I have my highs, they're high and they're great. But when I have my lows, I am down in the dirt. Why can't I be right there in the center? And she said to him, you're going to have your high and your lows because if you look on an EKG machine, your heart monitor, it goes up and down, right? If you're in the middle, you're flatline, you're dead. You have to be vulnerable and open enough to be at your low points and know that someone is going to see me. The people that love and care for me, they're going to see me. And you can't let your pride stand in the way of that. If you really care about somebody and if somebody really cares about you, you have to show them those low points. Those high points are going to come, but those low points when they do come, they tend to last for a while. And if you're going to ruin a good relationship because of your pride, baby, it has ruined a lot of relationships and I don't think it's worth it. I really do not think it's worth it. So give up your pride. If you care for this person, give up your pride. It's not gonna take you anywhere. Give it up, bro. Give it up, girl. Do just leave it alone. Your ego, your pride, you have to just be bare. When it comes to relationships, you have to be bare. I'm not saying to lose yourself. Never, never lose yourself to anyone or anything. But you have to be honest with yourself at all times. Because if you're not honest with yourself, it don't matter what nobody else say. You will never find your own truth.
Oh, I do. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Well, it might be an unpopular opinion, to be quite honest. This is a curveball one, actually.
A curveball.
Curveball. You did not know I was going to ask this question. It came out of nowhere. Anyway, um, at what age do you think people are ready? Generally, people are ready to start having romantic relationships.
Mm. See, I had this question. I was gonna put this question on last week, but I didn't want to. It depends. It thoroughly depends. I feel like the thing is, it starts off like this. Everyone has their elementary school crush. You know, everybody like little Billy or little Sammy or
I
whatever.
didn't.
You said general.
Yeah,
All
sorry.
right, thanks.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Anyways, everybody like they had their little elementary school crush. Then you go into middle school. That's where puberty.
Poverty.
That's where puberty starts. You're the only thing that's coursing through your veins is hormones. That's it. That is it. That's coursing through your veins, right? You get to high school.
And thoughts of girls thinking they too grown or something like that.
Yeah. You get
Or
to high
anyone thinking
school.
they grown. I don't know what is up with the middle schoolers thinking they're older than they are.
It's
Think
that puberty hit them.
that's why they need to be humbled.
Then you get to high school and it doesn't stop. You learn a few lessons, yeah, but now you're at that age where you're just like, oh, I can be a, oh, I'm a man now for real, or I'm a grown woman for real. But for me, yes, there are relationships that started in middle school and they last a lifetime or whatever have you. But I honestly think,
I've only heard of high school sweethearts.
oh no, there's middle school
I
sweethearts
mean, I've
though.
heard of the ones that make up, break up all
Mm-mm.
throughout middle school to high school, but I've never heard someone
Mm-hmm.
last in a relationship
Yeah, I've
all the way
seen
from
them.
middle school. That's crazy.
Yeah. But for me, I feel like I say 15, 16 is the age because at that point, probably not in American society, but usually not. I don't know. Back in the days, it was different, but hopefully they're still teaching at this age. They've at least went through sexual education class, Hope and PE and stuff. They don't really hold on. They don't really teach proper sex education, which we will be addressing in a later video. But I'm just gonna address a little bit now. They teach abstinence. They don't treat. They don't teach. They're not. They're only teaching. Hey, this is bad. 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 You can die. You could. You're gonna be sick. You're gonna do this. You're gonna be pregnant. Yeah, but you have to think about there is still hormone coursing through their veins, coursing through their body. They're going to do it. You telling them not to do it by just telling them all the bad things that could happen. Children are rebellious.
Also, the amount
Preteens
of
are rebellious, and
also,
so you should teach them to protect themselves. You're not teaching them protection. You're saying if you don't have protection, but let's have a class just on protection. Just say, if you're going to do it with care. Do it with care. You have to take precaution. You can't just put up the diseases. Trust me, have you seen the teen pregnancy rate? Telling us disease is not going to work. Telling these young girls and young boys about gonorrhea, chlamydia, and all that, it's not working. It's not doing anything. So at least teach them to use protection, to take care of themselves and everything. And so I feel like hopefully they are teaching that, at an early enough age. So I believe the question to answer your question, 15, 16 is like a decent enough age to be able to do that.
if
Because
they've
at that
taught
point,
proper sex education.
if they're taught, because at that point you're already thinking about, you're not an adult yet, by no means necessary. You're not. But at that point, I feel like you're going through enough. You've gone through enough of puberty. Depends on the time of puberty start. You've gone through enough of puberty for your head to be cooled down enough. Like you're still raging, but for you to understand a lot more. What that more is, it depends on each person. But for you to understand, the consequences more. You're thinking about future more. Not a lot of it, as we can still see with a teen pregnancy, right? But I feel like a 16-year-old, yeah, they can have a little boyfriend, a little girlfriend. But should they be having sex? No. Will they? Most likely. In my head, I don't think nobody should be, you know, doing any intercourse until probably about 18 after you graduated high school. But is that how the world works? No, because people are just going to be just tapping anybody, a relationship or not. So I'm just being 100% honest. I would say, you can have a little boyfriend at 16, but if you can refrain, if you can be abstinent, don't be doing it until 18. Until you can take care of the consequence of having sex.
And even
Because
then,
that child, believe it or not, if you're going to have sex, you have to consciously think about, a child can come up with this, right? And a child is not just something for the moment. A child is your responsibility for a lifetime. Yes, that child is going to be 18 and grow up or something, but believe it or not, at 30 years old, that parent is still going to think of you. That's my baby. At 23, my mom still calls me my baby. That's my anybody she introduces me to, my baby. And when I'm 40 and 50, she's gonna still introduce me. Oh, this is my baby. So that child is still gonna be your responsibility because that child is still gonna come to you. You're still gonna be called mom and dad. So if at 16 you're ready to be called mommy and daddy, all right. I'm not. I wasn't. So that's why I didn't get pregnant.
also,
And I didn't do that.
also, even if you try the scare tactic, and even if you try to do this or that, um, it's not just in teenagers' minds, but it's a global thing of all generations and all different ages where they believe that they're somehow invincible until it happens to them.
Yeah.
What's it called? Lady Gaga, tell it happened to you. Um, what's it called? They will not believe it can happen to them. They know that it exists, but it is not real until it actually affects them or the immediate person around them. And
Mm-hmm.
even then, they'll still in their mind think that they're the exception to this rule. That's why kids will experiment with drugs even if they do have a scare tactic because they're in their mind when they're here gateway drug and they smoke weed and nothing happens to them, they think they can go ahead and try something else
Mm-hmm.
of just because it's just a bit of fun. It won't happen to me. It's just a bit of fun. What's it called? I'm sure that this person is won't have an STD. It's just a bit of fun. And we're underage drinking. So they're not even thinking of all this other stuff and then they
They're
end
not.
up pregnant or the condom breaks because they didn't know how to put it on properly. Just different things
Bought the
like,
wrong size.
you know,
If they use two of them, because I've heard that they
I've
use
heard.
two of them, and I'm just like,
It's
if
not
you're
a
gonna
laughing
put
matter.
it
It
on
isn't, but that's
that
hilarious.
what? Hmm.
Like, it's
Hmm.
just, and
At
like,
least you want, if they had the right idea. I can't even be mad at them. I have to commend them. They had the right idea, but they just weren't knowledgeable. They didn't have the right knowledge.
because they weren't taught properly.
Exactly.
But the failing school system can come a different time.
The school system, but I feel like also it comes down to the parents because
Yeah.
I did learn some of it in school. I did, but I also learned from my parents because I feel like sometimes you just need to learn some stuff from the people that you grow up around. Like, your brothers and sisters or your mommy and daddy, your aunts and uncle, there's just some things that can't be taught in school too.
Um,
I
I'm
just feel like there are a lot of things to be taught in school, like the main,
yeah, no, I understand.
chlamydia and stuff. But there are some things that I feel like a parent should sit down and say, hey, ABC 1, 2, 3.
ABC 1, 2, 3. But anyway, um, honestly, the thing is, no matter what your first relationship, what's it called? It may no experience. People are gonna make dumb decisions and stuff like that. This or that. The emotional maturity will not be there. It won't.
It
Whatever
can't.
whatever you're looking for, just it won't be there. Doesn't matter like what's going on because you've never experienced a relationship before. And no matter what age this person is, no matter you think that just because that person is like 6 years older than you, they're more mature. No,
No.
no, no. That it'll still be toxic. Just like if you go to a 17-year-old while you're 17, and it could still be just as toxic. That's a different matter.
Mm.
Um, I feel like it's growing, and the thing is, I of course I've never been in a relationship, but the thing is, I've learned from the people around me about relationships. So, but some people just head dive into it, and they don't consider a lot of things when they're going into the relationship, and they don't they don't know a lot, especially like I said, they think they're invincible to all the bad things in life that can happen to them until it happens. And so for me, I think the age people should really just start dating is like 18 years old. That's the age to me. Of course, having crushes and like going on like dates and stuff like that, like you're going to the movies with this person or something like that. Sure, it can happen, but like to me, like the all the aspects of a relationship of I honestly don't really think people can truly handle it, except for the rare cases, um, until around like 18 years old. Truly. And also it's like just like people aren't taught about the physical aspects of sex education,
You're taught
there's
the
also
emotional later.
what's it called? A lot of people aren't taught the right ways to go about romantic relationships. About they don't a lot of people don't know how to treat others or how they should be treated.
You
So
can't
they
teach
will
that in
take
school.
they'll take what they think they deserve, especially if they're like in a low point in their lives, and they'll think that's a normal healthy relationship until they meet someone that actually treats them right. And it happens a lot in young relationships. So there's a lot of situationships happening now because this person cheated on them, and they think that it's normal now that everyone's going to cheat. And so now they think, oh, to guard my heart, we'll just talk and get with people, but never actually be with them. And that mindset, you're not ready for one. You're not ready for relationships, situationships, dating, because you have not healed from that last person.
Don't be going in with your baggage. Your baggage, put it in baggage claim.
People, especially
Don't
because
you're not supposed to be bringing your big suitcases through the airport. Remember that.
and then there's teenagers with a lot of insecurities, and they think that getting in a relationship will help them with those insecurities. You can have a supportive person. If the person you end up with is just a supportive person and they can help you, it wasn't because it was a relationship. It was because that was a good person. But your insecurities um can get, especially if it's like manifesting themselves in your relationships, whether it be platonic, familial, romantic, then no, you should not be in a relationship. You are not stable enough for one if you
Mm-hmm.
are letting those insecurities get in the way, especially like letting you become paranoid about how you are perceived by people and how you perceive people. It's one of those things where it's like there's so many hormones going around, there's so many uh things in like a teenager's head where they think a lot of things are wrong with them, and they and media romanticizes relationships as if it's something that's going to help fix them. It isn't. it Relationships aren't something you get into just because you're feeling lonely, or because you think uh, that it'll help somehow fill the void in your heart. It just it's it's not the case. And just because you get into a relationship with someone who calls you beautiful, it won't help your insecurities, because if you don't believe you're beautiful, then you're just going to continue fighting with this person.
That part.
It, so that's why I'm just like, they need to live life. Children need to live life before they get into something as serious as a relationship, because people sometimes don't take relationships as seriously as they should.
Hmm.
And then they either end up getting hurt, hurting someone, or it's just a double-edged sword. So that's why I'm just like 18, like, they've gotten a job, they've dealt with people in life. They've experienced more people outside of a classroom setting. It's not they've stepped out a little bit into the world, and they're like slowly starting to come out of it. That's my take.
Okay.
Ladies and gents,
Roundabout.
this is the moment you waited for.
Drum roll, please. The last question, the question that we want to ask first, but we felt like it was a finale
We
question.
refrained as much as we could.
We have to. I have been trying to address this question since like the first video. I'm not gonna lie to
She really
you.
has been. She's been antsy about it.
And we wait until February.
It seemed right.
Yeah, month of love. Yeah. Anyways, you ready?
Wait, there's a song in my head now. If you said "Mother of Love," oh no, no,
Seasons
no!
of.
It's the trap of love. Scooby Doo.
You know what? Ready?
Yeah, yeah. Ready, Freddy?
Is cheating ever justified? Let me turn my iPad off before you start.
No.
Period. Talk about it.
Period. Dot. No. Full sentence. No.
Mm-hmm.
Cheating is never, ever justified. I don't care how you spin it. I don't care what you say. It can never be justified. It makes no sense how people can think they can justify it. People are like, "Oh my god, they were never home. Da, 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 da. Then you weren't happy and you should have left them. You should have spoken to them, and if that didn't work, you should have left. Not cheated on them. That's not how it works. If you come across something and you're like, if you in your mind, you've done all you could in a relationship, you've gotten your couples therapy, you did what you can, right? You've done your steps, and you or even then, if your mind is crossing into the territory of of fantasizing about other people and stuff like that, immediately when those thoughts come to mind, talk to your partner and figure out how you're going to save the relationship or break the relationship, because cheating will never be the answer. Or the people that are young and be like, I just didn't want to hurt you by breaking up with you, so you cheated. or
Disrespect me.
or the people that are like, oh, it was a mistake. Oh, all those steps to a mistake.
That was a
All
lot of
those
steps.
You know how long that drive took back to your house,
Mm.
to her house, whoever's house it was. Also, question, when it comes to cheating, do you think it's worse if it meant something versus if it meant nothing?
It still means something
It,
because you still did it.
and also,
It still
if it
means
meant
something
nothing,
because if it meant nothing, then why did you do it? If it meant nothing, why did you do it? If it did mean something,
it's
let
a
me just
whole
fix my cardigan. Um, if it meant nothing, sweetheart, why did you do it? It was a waste of time, right? That means it was meaningless. Why did you do it then? If it did mean something, you still disrespecting me by choosing to go out there and commit that. You still women or man, the man go out there and see a little thing right there, see a little lady walking by and say, you know what, that's the one. While his wife or girlfriend up at the house, nothing, just innocent, innocent, right? Or the man up at the house and the girl gonna be like, you know what, it's fine. Let me go out here and cheat. Why? Why is that a thought that comes to your head? And right now, I want to address this. There are many people that think, like in today's society, that it is okay. I'm gonna cheat on him because he cheated on me. Then we gonna do a. Why would we both be in a cheating relationship? What What are we doing if we're both in the relationship and we're not in the relationship? We in three different relationships because we together. I'm together with him and you together with her. When did we form a sextuplet? No, tell me. Be honest with me. When did we have an agreement that I wasn't aware of? That where there's some signing of papers because that's stupid. And women, y'all wrong. Men, y'all wrong. Both of y'all wrong. It don't matter who cheated. You still cheated. It don't matter because women think about these things before they did it. Because ain't no women out here that just be not thinking. They know what they doing. Men, I don't care. Y'all still did it. It's not justified. Just if you felt something for the person or not, it ain't justified. And we're gonna get into the next one.
Oh,
Men, do why do men feel like they have the right?
they think
They have a
oof,
bigger right to be cheating. Why?
I don't know what's in these male podcasts that get that thing going, but it's not the male podcast because those thoughts need to be there for them to believe them to begin with. They in their heads they use those male podcasts to justify themselves. Think about that for a second. But also, let's talk about the fact that men think that it's only physical. So you threw away her trust, her 3 years worth of trust for something that was just physical if it meant nothing. That means you threw away your relationship for nothing. You threw away the trust for nothing, is what you're saying. Also, the ones that do mean something, that means it had to build up over time. Over that time, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you, especially if you're emotionally cheating, you're getting your emotional gratification from somebody else and physical gratification from somebody else. Why didn't you break up with her? Why didn't you come and be like, hey, people think that men think that they're more manly if they're cheating. That's not manly. It's more manly
Stupid.
to actually own up to
Oh
what you're
no,
doing
like
and
before you
break
even
the
do it, if you feel
relationship.
like you know what, something ain't right because I seen somebody walk by today and I had some obscene thoughts and I wanted to act on that. Let's have a conversation. What happened? What's going on? Why
What's
why
going in you?
what's going on? Like why would you go that far? I'm
Because the
not
thing
saying
is,
this because the thing is, people walk by and everybody walk by, they see a nice looking woman or a nice looking man. What's gonna say, oh, that's a nice looking man, that's a nice looking woman. And the conversation, if that's not your boundary in your relationship, that's fine. But for me, I'm thinking if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I compliment people on the daily. It don't matter who it is. It could be a random stranger, and I'm walking past the street. I'm just like, "Oh, you got some nice eyes." I don't think much of it. I don't. I'm not thinking, "Oh, that's gonna be my new husband." Yeah, we're gonna have a nice little townhouse in the countryside. No, it's just a compliment. But if y'all decide to act on that, now let's have conversations because you're with somebody. You know, what is what the steps that you took because you had to contact this person, you had to go wherever y'all was going to do the little hooky, y'all had to do the little hooky, then you had to come back to him or her, and then you're going to sit there or lie next to them and lie, or not even lie, but just don't tell the
and
truth.
the thing is, yes, women do think about it before, like when women cheat. Everyone has brain processes. They do whatever. Men think about it, but they think about how to hide it.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes into play, where it's like, for women, they'll ruminate on the decision. Most likely that relationship ended a minute
Oh
ago,
yeah, for women,
and
they end their relationship long before it's over.
long before, in their heads, once they know that it's over, it's over. I don't know, they should tell them. They
They
should
I,
finally
they
tell
really
them.
should they really should share the news
They
that it's
should. They should
over
broadcast it,
because if if
announce it.
if it's not been situate like party A and party B have
It's like
come to the conclusion.
it's like this. One is a homicide, and the one is
Oh,
premeditated murder.
oh,
Either way, no matter what, they're first degree.
pow pow.
And so they're just as bad. Someone is dead. And you've tried to hide it.
There's blood on the floor.
It's happened. Okay? So I will never I just nothing justifies it. No matter what, sparing feelings, thinking that you're being neglected in the relationship, doing this, no matter what, everything could have been solved with communication or breaking up. You
If
wouldn't
you're
have
being
cheated
neglected,
if you broke up. You could have easily just went with this person after you've broken up with them if this was the person that you wanted. And it's somewhere in people's mind it's also an ego boost. They think that oh,
that's the
if I
culture of today.
if I get what's it called they think, oh my god, this person wants me, I just have to do it.
Everybody desires me, so you
They're
know what? I'm gonna
like,
just fulfill all the
oh,
needs.
or like they're feeling, or in their heads also, it's like in their heads they think they need to get this kind of validation because they're hurt inside, and there's something wrong in their minds. They're not stable enough for a relationship by no means. So they think that the person that they're with, the person they're with in their heads is too good for them. And so what they do is that they get with someone. If you've noticed, I don't want to drag anyone down, but usually they downgrade when they cheat on somebody.
Let me just add some
I
in.
never want to I don't
Let
want to
me
drag
just
people
add
down,
something. Listen,
but they do
if
downgrade
you have to like
in
belittle
some
someone
way.
in order to feel better about yourself, if you're gonna drag someone down, you know we have to be below that person, okay? You can't be above somebody to drag them down. Just want to say that.
But what's it called? It's an ego boost because they really truly think that inside they are less and they are inferior to their partner, so they go out and cheat when what they should have done was talk openly about their feelings and communicate so that they could get through it together as a couple or break up. It's simple, really. That's why nothing will ever justify cheating.
It's simple math and arithmetic.
It really truly is, because one plus one is two. So
And
how
if
did
one
you
of the two
go?
ain't there, it's one
So how did you go from one plus one equals
equals
three?
tres, cuatro, cinco.
How did
Tom,
you go
Dick,
ahead and
Harry,
do that?
Sally, Sue, May.
And so I will never understand. And then there's some people in this world that are being abused, that are being mistreated, and they end up connecting with somebody else and stuff like that. That's different. Because in my head, those toxic relationships aren't relationships. You were never in a relationship, you were being abused. Or you're in a situation that there's such a power
Imbalance.
imbalance that it's not a real relationship. It's all an illusion constructed to keep you there.
Mm-hmm.
That in my head, when things like that, and if so, this person, you cheating emotionally or physically with this person, gets you out of the situation you're in, cool. Not the people that trick themselves that think they're being neglected in their relationship just because that person is working hard to keep the money flowing. That's different. That is wholly different.
Like I get it. There's times when people like there are times when people are going to, overlook certain things because maybe it's just they've been busy. They've been busy and so they overlook certain things. But take a time if they when they do find that time, that small downtime and say, "Hey, you know, we've been here lately. Let's try to figure out how we can get back like
Hey,
right here,
we
one at a
haven't went
time."
on a date in a month.
You know, we had a lot of times it happens after they have kids. It's just like we have, we have little Jamie, little Sally, little Susie. It's hard, and if it's hard, if you're not with the close knit people with around, because it takes a village to raise children, and so if you don't have people around that are willing to babysit, right? You can find yourself. It's been 5 years, and you have believe it, it's been 5 years, and you have not went on a date with your husband or your wife. You don't know that person anymore. Why I say that? The person that you married, And the person that's gonna be with you on your 10th year anniversary, that's a different person.
That's a whole
That
different
is a
person.
different person. So that's also a thing. Don't be with somebody just for who they are today. Be with them. It says for better or for worse, for richer or for poor. All of the things that you say in your vows, abide by it, because
Because there will be a better and a worse.
the person that you're with today, the person that you started dating, however the relationship timeline, the person that you dated 5 years ago, the person that engaged to you 3 years ago, the person that you're married today, the person that you will be spending your second year anniversary with, the person that will become a father, the person that will become a grandfather, all those people, it's within the same shell. It's within the same shell. But there are all different people, because people change, things happen, environments change, people die, new people come in your life, your mindset changes. There are a lot of changes. So if you're not willing to be with that person, don't be just putting up a facade saying, you know what, oh, he gonna be this, he gonna get there. No, you don't know when he's gonna get there, you don't know when she's gonna get there. But if you're willing to stay with that person, be with that person. Don't just be going into a relationship thinking, you know what, he gonna get better, and that's why I'm with him. No,
And don't also
no,
don't go into a relationship think you can change
don't
someone.
be in love with somebody's
Don't
potentials.
don't be in love with the idea of a person. Don't be like, "Oh, they could be so much better if only they did
If
this."
if you
That's
have
your
to think about,
first
if you have to
problem.
say if only, that if only is gonna mess you up.
And even then, it's like you can't change people. People will only
People
change when they want to change. People will
exactly.
only change once they're ready to change. And if you think that you can't fix people. Don't think that people are just things to mold and be what you want them to be. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's never how it works. And also, um when it comes to relationships and when people decide that something is too much or too little and stuff like that, I will never understand how people will loop that into justifying cheating on a whole person. To me,
You know,
cheating
it's crazy how much things
to
people can just wheel around and say, you know what, because XYZ did not do one, two, three, I'm a cheat.
and
Just
they're gonna be
it
and
depends.
then there are
So
also
much
a
things that
crowd of
people
people that will
try.
actually will support that.
There is so much people. There is so much things that people can say. You know what? He didn't pick up the groceries today. I'm gonna find me a man that will pick up my groceries, baby. What what? He didn't want to pay my phone bill, so I ain't gonna do. Why you couldn't pay your own phone bill? What happened? What was the problem? She couldn't do this, so I'm a. If you have to have a thought to be with somebody else while in a relationship, baby, you have to either sit down, as we've been talking about, sit down and talk with that person that you want to try to figure out why I've been straying my feelings, or try. You know what? I'm not loving you no more. I'm gonna leave.
And let's talk about the men. Again, we're gonna go back to the men who think um that they can cheat and only them can cheat, of course. But and it's not cheating because they're men. Let's talk about them for a second. Um why in the world do men think they're like, if it'll be this specific thing, a
Mm,
high value man.
mm.
I didn't know you can say all those words at once. I didn't think you were capable of that. But let's continue. Why do these high value men think I've heard this phrase before. They think that they can cheat because they're high value men, and if they're high value men, that means a lot of women want them. They've chosen that one person that they love, but
No,
if
no,
they're a
no.
high
You,
value
you gotta put
man
love.
that they love, but they're a high value man. So that means that they can just be physical with people and it won't mean anything because physical doesn't mean that they don't love this person. It's just a physicality. And so I'm just like, if that, if you love that person, if you claim to love them, it's one thing for a lot of people to like you. Why are you responding? If you're a high value man, why don't you have any self control? If you're a high value man, if you're so great as you claim to be, how can anyone compare to the person that you're with? If you're a high value man, why in the world will you want to hurt the person that you are in love with just because the fact that a bunch of other people want you? What do them wanting you has to do with you wanting them back? What does
They
that
have to
mean?
fulfill the needs of the masses.
No, 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 no,
Mm.
no.
And we're not throwing shade at men. No, because there are women. There are vile women.
And there are women
There are women.
that will teach that will not only teach their sons that that is correct, but also there are women out there that will agree with men like that and will push back all the years women have spent fighting for equality for this.
There
I don't know why.
are there are women and men alike that think, you know what? I can take anybody, man. I can take
And
anybody,
those
woman.
as well.
Okay, first of all, both of y'all are to be blamed. I blame the person that y'all took, and I blame y'all because you have no self-respect. First of
You
all,
have no
if you're gonna
respect
take
or
this
self
person,
respect.
if you're gonna take this person from somebody, one, and if you're going to go in a relationship, right? Go in a relationship, physical or what have you, with somebody that you know is already taken. What is wrong with you?
Also, remember the way you got into a relationship will be the way that relationship ends. Remember that. And also, the women, the men that stay with the cheating person, the ones who give them chance after chance after chance. Why? There, to me, cheating is to me is emotional abuse. That's what it is. And so it's one of those things where some people will stay with somebody for the kids. Those kids are watching you being cheated on and are
And
thinking
they're
that it's
taken as
okay.
example.
They're and also they're or they are growing to hate their father as a father or their mother as a mother, whoever's the one doing the toxic traits. They will
Mhm.
either learn
Or
that it's
hate them for
okay.
taking that
Yes,
toxicity.
exactly. Or hate them for arguing back and forth when all they've ever wanted was to have a regular dinner together as
Mhm.
a family. So, in my mindset, no matter what, if you can't if you can't compromise to at least have a civil conversation, to be like, okay, for the kids we can co-parent but we must separate because that is the best healthiest option and the kids will understand as they grow older, then you go ahead and you do what you do as adults because for the kids meaning is the best possible option for them. Yet you think that somehow you staying together with toxic energy flying around you guys is the best for them. It's never the best for them. And then there's also the fact that you have to think about when you are co-parenting, if they are a good parent to their children at the very least, not a good partner by any means, but a good father or mother to their children, you also have to think about who are they bringing around the house if you're letting your children stay with them, because you have to consider the fact that if they're not treating their partner right, the kids will still see that,
Mm,
the kids will still learn that, the kids
mm.
will still end up having that ingrained in their brains, and that's trauma right there. Like there's so many things to consider when it comes to the children. It isn't as simple as if we stay together or if we just outright divorce, it is going to be the best for the kids. It's never that simple. And so I never understand that mentality
People just don't
ever.
think.
People don't
It's
think.
just it's just a simple
Or the
of
people that think that if they have a child, that it's
oh
going to save the
girl,
relationship.
girl,
That's another topic for another day.
no, but no, because baby, if you weren't being treated right before, right? What makes you think a child gonna help the situation? Why would you want to bring a child, baby? Sweetheart.
And then you
No.
grow to resent that child because they happen to be the child of that person you parented that child with. Because you see the resemblance in both of you, and now both of you who fight with each other fight with the child too. Because trust me, even if you are nice and kind to that child, they will still feel the resentment that that they didn't fix your relationship when it wasn't their problem to begin with.
Why? Because you walking around the house talking smack about the daddy, and you walking around the house talking smack about the mama. I don't know why people think that kids are dumb. They're probably not fully, all their stuff ain't
But
fully
they are
forming,
absorbing.
but they absorb. That's how they get everything to form. They absorb everything you do, everything you say.
Now, they might touch the stove when they're not supposed to, but they learn not to touch the stove again right after that.
They gonna learn.
They might seem like they're doing a meaningless thing, but you remember when you were a child, we experiment since day one. That's what we
That's
do.
what humankind does.
And even though you can say, oh, they're children, they won't understand now. Well, it's still in their brains. It'll come back and they'll understand later. That's how it always works. That's how it's always been. And sometimes they do understand then. They just don't have the right words to express it. So it's like, what? But back onto the topic because children are a whole different topic. I never understand the people that stay, even without children. Without children, I never understand people that stay with the cheater. What's in your minds? How do you feel about yourself? Did they already break you down, or were you broken down before you got into the relationship to stay with the cheater? What's going on with that? Because that's wrong too. Because I'm sure your family, your friends, if you have true family and friends, would want you out of the situation. Why aren't you talking to them about this? And why aren't they talking to you? And why aren't you listening?
Mm,
Obviously. But
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
This is a lot of things. A lot of things today. Just a lot of
February, the
things.
month of love,
It's just
and the month of the most breakups. Or is that Christmas? I don't know.
it's both. Whatever holiday that couples have to exchange
Exchange
gifts.
gifts or exchange affection.
It's just crazy.
It's so
And
funny.
the fact that people are posting about this, like they're like, "Oh my gosh, so I cheated. I was with XYZ, or on Valentine's Day coming up, oh, I'm gonna have to be at this house and this place and that." Why? Why?
You know what I don't understand? The people that have whole different families. I've seen situations where it's a woman will have two sets of different families and a man will have two whole sets of different families. How y'all do it? When y'all find the time? How y'all split y'all days up like this? How y'all splitting the mortgages up like this too? You got money for a full house because you splitting the mortgage up halfway between these two people? What's going on? Are you a housewife and one other, but you got a side business and you go to there, or you like a businessman that say, "Ooh, these days I have to go on my half these days, half of this week I got to go on my trip." Like, what is going on? How do you make that happen? Because that is some espionage CIA stuff. And honestly, commend you. You're scum of the earth, but I commend you. I'm impressed. I'm impressed at how evil you can be. Like, you're very good at it.
I'm telling you, I just people,
Mm.
mm,
Mm.
people, and it's just,
Mm.
and the fact of the matter is, these days, because everyone, and also,
Mm-hmm.
okay, these days, as we've been touching on like this, all this video, with all of the trash that's just out on the streets, you know. And you know what happens to trash out on the street? It just goes into the ocean and
People
go
love
drown,
littering.
drown, and just affect the sea life, right? Let's put that in real people life. With all the scum, the soot, the debris out in this world, you got situationships, you got hookups, you got just disgustingness all around. To be quite honest, then you have I'm gonna be fair. You have the 5%. It's just you have the 5 to 10% that do want an actual, a stable
And when
relationship, want to have a
she
long
said
term life.
the disgusting bad people that hook up, she's still talking about the cheaters and the liars and the people that pretend that they don't got a girl back home. She's not talking about the people having fun, y'all, that
The,
doing it safely and protecting themselves and others. It's go ahead.
but there's that 5 to 10% because I feel like I'm being generous when I say it because the amount of people that do it seems to overwhelm the people that aren't. And so the 5 to 10% of people that do want to have, a long term relationship, get married or whatever have you, the 1 in 1,000, if you're right here, wanting to be in a good relationship, you're surrounded by 999 people that just want to wreck a life, that just want to hurt people, hurt situations, just
Hurt
be
people,
damaged,
hurt people.
right? And so you have people that could be finding their soulmates, but can't, but can't because there's just so much bad that they're just like, you know what, I'm gonna just work on me, or they're like, you know what, they're not even gonna try to get in relationships because the thing is, you don't know who's a wolf in sheep clothing. You don't know who are here just up on pretenses. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Also, it's so much harder to get with people nowadays with how many people are getting with each other online and stuff. People not, seeing people eye to eye, actually walking up to people. And it's also like, can you trust the person walking up to you?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's just so hard to know who's genuine nowadays.
Like who really, when they come up to you and say, like a compliment. I don't like a compliment is a compliment. Like, hey, beautiful, how are you doing? What why did you start the conversation? What are you trying to get out of this? There's so much thoughts running through your head. You can't even stop to analyze what's really going on. And it's kind of sad if you ask me. It's really sad. It's really sad. There's just so much people out here that's just looking for pure, clean love,
And they
and you and
exist.
you and it they do exist. What the okay? I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna flip it. I mean, let me not be so
Cynical.
yeah. Let me just not be so pessimist. There's a good 70% of people that do want love, but because they're impatient as well, they are also mixed in with the 30% that's doing the toxicity because they do want it, but they're impatient. So they're just like, you know what? They don't have any self-respect, and then they're gonna put themselves. They're like, I'm gonna just go to anybody that come my way.
Also, it's like
No,
how many there's so many people out there that get hurt by others and don't know how to actually be in a relationship.
yeah,
They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to express it
my hair
correctly.
shrinking up is
They don't know
killing me.
how it's supposed to be expressed back to them. They will go in blind, not knowing, not realizing that they're hurting the other person because they simply do not know how to be in a relationship. And this is not saying that it's justified. The any toxic thing that happens is justified. But you also there's an
You
understanding there
can't
though.
blame them because they don't know any better. You do as you are taught. If you grew up in a loving home with loving, whether you had one parent or not, if you grow up with love, a good like 80% of the time you're going to that's how you're going to show your love to people. If you grew up in your house with your grandma and she was always cooking for your cousins and cooking for everybody around you, if you're around her all the time, you might develop that love language of act of servitude because you've seen that's how she showed her love. She was always cooking and feeding everybody. But if you grew up in a house with your parents fighting and arguing and they still stay together with all of that, they see red at all times. That's how you're gonna think love is supposed to be. And so when this good fellow come by or this good girl come by
Or they
and
steer
shows you
clear of
proper
it, or
love.
they steer clear of
Yeah, there's
relationships
two.
in
Either they
total.
they just steer clear of relationships, or this good person comes by, this angel comes by to just put their lives on the right path. But because they're so used to the chaos around them at all times, they don't know that's not love. They don't know that this person that's trying to show and care for them, that's love.
and then they'll go hurt this person, and then
Yeah.
they end the relationship, and now this person thinks that this is how relationship is supposed to be.
And it just
And
come an
so it'll
endless toxic cycle.
continue and on. And then there's some people, there of course there's some people that grow and they're like, that's not how it's supposed to look like. I don't know how it's supposed to look like, but that doesn't seem right because there's obvious pain going on. And then they will go in and they'll follow whatever they follow the relationship. They might have a few things in them. They might have a few of that strands in them where they're a little bit argumentative, where they start up on like things will trigger them easily a little more. But the thing is, I think at the end of the day, communication is the most important thing to have in a relationship, and trust, of course, that's a given. But real communication is where that bottom line is, because without that everything else will fall apart, and the biggest distance between two people is a misunderstanding. Communication is not used very often. It should be. But the thing is that people think that they know what's going on in another person's mind. For some reason, men think they know how women think, and women think they know how men think, and it ends up being a cycle of no, you don't. No, you don't.
Assuming will get you nowhere.
Assuming will get you nowhere. And so it's like when these things are arising, people won't speak up about it. When there's good parts and bad parts to a person, and I'm not saying bad parts as like flaws, I'm saying these red flags are starting to appear uh and come out in different ways, and you're like, no, they don't reach out and be like, hey, what's going on? Is this something that we can talk about? And things like that. Or something that's like, that can be worked out about it. If it can't be worked out and that person doesn't want to change, leave them. That person simply cannot see what is wrong in what's going on inside them. They're not ready for a relationship. They need to work on themselves.
Yeah,
And so it's better to just go ahead and leave, because you won't be able to change anything.
you
Though you'll
won't.
still be hurt at the end of the day, whether you decide to prolong it or cut it off now because that person
Because
needs to be by
because even if
themselves.
you ignore it now and try to look on better things, that same thing, if you guys are supposed to get in an argument or whatever have you down the line, guess what the first thought gonna come on your head? That same thing that you disliked about them. And so you're carrying that negativity on your heart for this person. It's
Mm-hmm.
not worth it.
It
If it's
isn't.
care if it's causing you so much imbalance, if like the bad is outweighing the good at all times,
Or if you're walking on eggshells.
it's not okay.
Also, it's always baffled me too that if you care about a person, if you truly care about a person, even if like the feelings of the relationship have gone, there's been too many things being thrown about, you know, too many ways that you just found out you just were not compatible in, but you still care about that person, because feelings don't just fade in a day.
They don't.
Feelings won't just stop. You won't just stop caring about someone. I never understand why they won't talk, even if it's not to fix their relationship. But like to at least communicate, like, hey, obviously something's going on. You might just take my words as face at face value. You might just take my words and think that I'm insulting you or whatever you have you. You may just think that I'm just talking to air, and you may just deny everything you're hearing right now. But maybe it'll help you along the way, or maybe it'll help you in your next relationship. Maybe you just couldn't be that way for me, and that's fine. It hurts, but it's fine. But can you can you hear me out? Because something is happening, and I think you need to know. Because I would, like, if you care about a person, say something about something you see going on with them, or say something that's happening in the relationship and you feel it changing in some way, because it needs to be addressed. Even though you may be done with the relationship as a whole, no matter how much you care, no matter how many tears are shed and things like that, I feel like it's still good to communicate what you've learned, because then that person is going to go into it blind. Closure is so important. So many people end relationships without any closure at all, And it weighs on them so heavily that even though they may take a gap between, they may take like 2 years between before they find another person to date, but then it'll reappear. That flaw, or that trait, or that red flag will come up again, or that insecurity will come back up again. That thing that they never had to deal with, they never got to deal with properly, will come back up again in their next relationship, no matter how long it's been since their last one, because they never worked on themselves. The first thing you need to, well, the first relationship you need to work on is you and yourself, between you and what's going on inside you, before you can step up and be like, yes, I want this next relationship. I will never I'm sorry. Communicate, please. Please. So many relationships are better off when people communicate, even if they end things. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, that's my piece.
You had a big piece.
I had a big piece. I'm sorry. It's just, oh.
Well,
Communication is
guys,
key, guys.
that's all we have for you today. We got a little heated. That's all we have for you today.
It's a big topic.
Whenever you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, good morning, good evening, good night. I'm sending love to you and yours.
Bye.